Okay, so allotting 30 minutes to this return wala chapter. Not 30 minutes, like I'll try to complete it in 20 minutes. Huh? Let's start my Pomodoro. Because यहाँ पर हमारे पास सिर्फ 15 ही क्वेश्चंस हैं, I mean 16. देखते हैं. Let's start. Question 1. Mr. X, a regular taxpayer, did not make question number 1. Mr. X, a regular taxpayer, did not make any taxable supply during the month of July. Is he required to file any goods and service? हाँ, nil वाली return भी file करनी थी. A regular taxpayer is required to furnish. A regular taxpayer required to furnish a return under section 39 for every month, even if no supplies. Filing of nil return is also mandatory. ठीक है. Question number 2. Mr. Anand Kumar, a regular taxpayer, filed GSTR 31 for the month of August before the due date. For the month of August before the due date. Okay, later in the month February. Next year he discovers error in the GSTR 1 of the month of August already filed and wants to revise it. Advise him on the future course of action. I guess इसको revise करने का time period होता है 30th November और actual date of annual return filing, whichever is earlier शायद से. हाँ, जो भी earlier आएगा. तो इस केस में इसने यहाँ पर फाइल किया है फाइनेंशियल ईयर कब था फॉर अगस्त और फेब नेक्स्ट ईयर. तो आई थिंक सही है, कर सकता है क्योंकि इसकी 31 दिसंबर तक, बट वो तो नेक्स्ट ईयर में आया होगा ना 31 दिसंबर, तो आई थिंक ये कर सकता है. ओके, बट देखते हैं. अ फाइलिंग रिवाइज रिटर्न फॉर एनी करेक्शन ऑफ एरर्स, आई थिंक. ओके, और ओमिशन इज नॉट अवेलेबल. ओके, रिवाइज रिटर्न. अच्छा, रिवाइज रिटर्न यहाँ पे क्या ऑप्शन है? रिक्वायर्ड टू एडवाइज हिम ऑन द फ्यूचर कोर्स. ही डिस्कवर्स एरर एंड वांट्स टू रिवाइज इट. अच्छा, रिवाइज का ऑप्शन है. ओके, मैकेनिज्म of filing revised return for any correction of errors or omission is not available under GST. Nil return. Filing of revised return is not available in subsequent returns. Okay. Rectification of errors or omissions in subsequent returns allowed. May, after furnishing the details of outward supplies of goods or services of both in GSTR 1 for a tax period, but before filing Form GSTR 3 before a tax period, at his own option, amend or furnish additional details of outward supplies of goods or services of both in Form GSTR 1A for the said tax period. Okay, GSTR 1A में. Okay. Registered person may, after furnishing details of outward supplies of goods or services or both in Form GSTR 1 for a tax period can file additions or amend details of outward supplies of goods, services, or both at his own option in Form GSTR 1A for said tax period. A registered person, after furnishing the details of outward supplies in Form GSTR 1 before filing GSTR 3B before filing GSTR 3B before filing GSTR 3B at his own option amend or furnish additional details of outward supplies in Form GSTR 1. Therefore, Anand, who discovered error in GSTR 1, cannot revise it. However, therefore Anand cannot revise but file rectify said error in the GSTR 1 file and should pay but should rectify said error in GSTR 1 filed for month of Feb next year. GSTR 3 भी तो चला ही होगा ना इस केस में. Okay. They filed, he should rectify said error in the GSTR 1 file for Feb and should pay tax and interest in case short payment in return to be furnished for Feb. In case there is short payment interest, if any. Okay. Error can be rectified by furnishing appropriate particulars in amendment tables. Okay. However, as per no rectification of details furnished in GSTR 1 can be allowed. Also, no rectification in GSTR 1 details after 30th November following end of financial year to which such details pertains. 30th November following the end of financial year for which such detail pertains, or annual return filing date, whichever is earlier. ये होता है 31st December generally due date. Actual कुछ भी हो सकता है, whichever is earlier. Now question third. As per 39.9, okay, 39, okay. No, section 39 GSTR. Okay. Provisions of 39.9 of CGSTR with reference to rectification of returns. अच्छा, rectification जो हमने इसमें पढ़ा है वही वाला होगा. तो can rectify in next GSTR 1 to be filed. Rectify किसको करना है? Rectify करना है omission को. Omission. कोई omission हो गया या फिर incorrect particulars. यहाँ पर if any registered person after furnishing a return discovers, यहाँ पर after registered person होना चाहिए. After furnishing return discovers omission or incorrect particulars, rectify in next GSTR 1 in the return to be furnished for the month during such omissions are noticed. Next GSTR 1 to be filed when In the return, okay, return to be furnished for the month during which omissions are noticed. Rectify in GST 1 to be filed for month during which omission noticed. However, 39.9, okay, अब यहाँ पर 30th November or actual due date of annual return, whichever is earlier, does not allow rectification after the expiry of does not permit rectification or omission discovered on account of अच्छा scrutiny. Okay, यहाँ पर एक चीज है. Further, no such rectification of omission or incorrect particulars shall be allowed after 30th November following date of financial year to which such details pertains. 30th November following financial year to which such details pertains, or actual date of furnishing of relevant annual return, whichever is earlier. So एक चीज एक्स्ट्रा है यहाँ पर, लाइक सेक्शन 39.9 ये पूरा ही रेक्टिफिकेशन के लिए लिया है. सेक्शन 39.9 ना. Section 39.9 does not permit rectification of error or omission discovered on account of scrutiny, audit, inspection, or enforcement activities by tax authorities. मे भी कुछ MCQ में आए तो ठीक है. On account of scrutiny, audit, inspection, enforcement activities by tax authorities. ठीक है. Question 4. Tax authorities have been scrutinizing the returns furnished by A Limited. During scrutiny process has been made aware by authorities about an incorrect disclosure in a return for a particular tax period. This is scrutiny ना. Scrutiny वाले पे rectify cannot be rectified. On scrutiny discovery. ठीक है. Any rectification is allowed only when omission is discovered. Reasons other than rectification of error or omission discovered on account of scrutiny, audit, inspection, or enforcement activity by the tax authorities. The rectification of incorrect disclosures cannot be made. इसको बड़ा करने के लिए they have repeated things. से पहले 39.9 allow नहीं करते. फिर in the present case, since the incorrect disclosure in a return has been highlighted to A Limited by the tax authorities during scrutiny, thus rectification of incorrect disclosure cannot be made. Okay, question 5. Discuss the cases where a registered person is not allowed to furnish the details of outward supplies under section 37 in form GSTR 1 or using IFF facilities. In cases where a registered person is not allowed to furnish the details of outward supplies. Where a registered person is not allowed to furnish the details of outward supplies. Okay, not allowed to furnish details of outward supplies. देखते हैं. 396. A registered person shall not be allowed to furnish the details of outward supplies in form GSTR 1 if he has not furnished the return in form GSTR 3B. Okay. If not furnished return in form GSTR 3B for preceding month, but 2 A registered person opting for QRMP scheme. A registered person opting for QRMP scheme if he has not furnished GST or 3B. GST or 3B preceding टैक्स पीरियड. प्रीसीडिंग मंथ नहीं हो सकता अब क्योंकि QRMP है तो क्वार्टरली जाता होगा, तो इन प्रीसीडिंग टैक्स पीरियड. तो यहाँ पर IFF भी नहीं, वॉइस फर्निशिंग फैसिलिटीज भी नहीं और GSTR1 भी नहीं. ओके, नंबर थर्ड, इंटीमेशन टू whom intimation has been issued on common portal in respect of tax period. Registered person to whom intimation has been issued. Intimation has been issued. GSTR3B, GSTR3B. Preceding month, preceding tax period. Okay. To whom intimation has been issued on common portal in respect of a tax period shall not be allowed to furnish details of outward supplies in GSTR1 or IFF for a subsequent tax period unless he has either deposited the amount specified in said intimation or has furnished a reply. Okay, अगर उसको वो डिमांड नहीं पे करना है तो furnished a reply explaining reasons for amount remaining unpaid. Meaning unpaid. Reply deposited specified amount. Okay. एक तो हो गया अगर उसने GST3B नहीं फाइल किया फॉर प्रीवियस टैक्स पीरियड, एंड इफ अगर QRMP स्कीम में था तो QRMP स्कीम में अगर उसने GSTR3B फाइल नहीं किया फॉर प्रीसीडिंग टैक्स पीरियड, और अगर नेक्स्ट था हाँ इंटीमेशन अगर इसके अगेंस्ट कॉमन पोर्टल पर इशू हुआ है तो वो GSTR1 और IFF में आउटवर्ड सप्लाईज का डिटेल नहीं फाइल कर सकता सब्सिक्वेंट टैक्स पीरियड में until उसने वो अमाउंट डिपॉजिट कर दिया हो जो स्पेसिफाई किया था इंटीमेशन में, या फिर उसका रिप्लाई दे दिया हो कि वाई द अमाउंट इज स्टिल अनपेड. और नेक्स्ट है ये भी इंटीमेशन का है. इंटीमेशन इन रेस्पेक्ट ऑफ टैक्स पीरियड और periods unless he has, ये अपना इंटीमेशन जो है यहाँ पर ये है 88C1 का इंटीमेशन और ये है 88D1 का इंटीमेशन. पता नहीं तो नहीं रहेगा बट स्टिल unless he has either paid amount equal to excess ITC or has an intimation or has furnished a reply ठीक है. दो चीज़ें हो गई, एक और इंटीमेशन हो गया, इसमें एक्सेस अमाउंट ऑफ आईटीसी अगर पे नहीं किया है तो, और हैज फर्निश्ड रिप्लाई subsequent tax period. Okay. Fifth point, a registered person shall not be allowed to furnish GSTR 1 or IFF. Not okay, not furnished details of bank account. ठीक है, not furnished details of bank account. Question 6. Who elaborating the relevant provision of section 44? 44 I think. Annual return or final return की heading वही है. So who is required to furnish annual return and what is the due date for furnishing the same? Annual return किसी भी registered person को फाइल करना होगा और ड्यू डेट तो 31st December of the financial year to which the after the end of the financial following the financial year to which the tax period relates. For all registered persons, not required भी है यहाँ पर. okay, all registered persons to file an annual return not following. Okay, number 1, casual taxable person वो चला ही जाएगा. नॉन रेसिडेंट टैक्सेबल पर्सन. ओके, इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर से इनपुट सर्विस से इसका आईटी से डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने के लिए बनता है, एनआरटीपी से एडवांस टैक्स वगैरह लेने के लिए कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन. ऑथोराइज टू डिडक्ट ओके टीडीएस टीसीएस वाले पर्सन्स ऑथोराइज्ड टू डिडक्ट और कलेक्ट TCS under section 51 and 52 or 52. Okay. Commissioner may, on recommendations of council by notification, exempt any class of registered persons from filing annual return. Okay. Also, number 5 हो गया ये तो फिर ना. Recommendation, notification. Commissioner by notification exempt any class of registered person department of CG or SG or local authority whose accounts are subject to audit by C&AG or an auditor appointed for auditing the accounts of local authorities under any law are exempt from the requirement of furnishing annual return, including self-certified reconciliation statement. Okay, so this is the point number 6 हो गया. यहाँ पर हो गया डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ CG or SG or local authority whose books of accounts are subject to audit by Comptroller and Auditor General of India or an auditor appointed to audit accounts of local authority exempt from annual return plus self-certified recon statement. Or 31st December of next financial year. Annual return of financial year needs to be filed by 31st December. 31st December of next financial year. हाँ वो अगला फाइनेंशियल ईयर तो अच्छा ही हो ही गया है ना. ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर needs to be filed by 31st December of next financial year. Okay. Now B. What is the prescribed form? Prescribed form annual return का is to be filed electronically. Electronically. GSTR 9 और composition स्कीम वालों के लिए GSTR 9A और e-commerce operator required to collect TCS is required to file annual return. ये तो ऊपर तो मना कर रहे थे. अच्छा नहीं. पर्सन ऑथोराइज टू डिटेक्ट और कलेक्ट TCS 5152. यार 52 में तो ई कॉम ऑपरेटर ही तो कलेक्ट करता है. ओके. पता नहीं ई कॉम ऑपरेटर का तो आया नहीं है तो एग्जाम्प्टी है ना. फिर नंबर सी है अपना. हु इज रिक्वायर्ड टू फर्निश अ सेल्फ सर्टिफाइड रिकंसिलिएशन स्टेटमेंट. दिस इज समथिंग यू नो. सेल्फ सर्टिफाइड रिकंसिलिएशन स्टेटमेंट. तो यहाँ पर all registered persons along with annual return if their aggregate turnover exceeds 5 crores. Okay. All registered persons along with annual return. Self-certified reconciliation statement. Self-certified reconciliation statement. Okay. If aggregate turnover during a financial year exceeds 5 crores. The annual return along with a copy of self-certified reconciliation statement duly. Okay, इस केस में to furnish electronically the annual return plus self-certified recon statement in form GSTR 9C. A self-certified reconciliation statement will reconcile the value of supplies declared in the return furnished for the financial year with the audited annual financial statement. Return furnished for the financial year with the audited annual financial statement. To return file with annual return with the audited financial statement. Okay. Return reconcile करते हैं. Return furnished during 94 financial year and audited annual financial statement. Okay. However, following persons को self-certified reconciliation statement भी नहीं देना है. Casual taxable person, non-resident taxable person, input service distributors. Okay. ये 4 persons को. Also, no self-certified है. Self-certified हाँ. Self-certified recon statement. सेटा CTP नॉन रेजिडेंट टैक्सेबल पर्सन 5152 वाले और एक और पर्सन था कंपोजिशन स्कीम वाला, और एक कंपोजिशन तो नहीं था, इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर था। कंपोजिशन वाले का सीन था उसको जीएसटीआर 9A में भरना पड़ता है एनुअल रिटर्न। Section 7 is annual return under section 44 and final return one and the same। नहीं, फाइनल रिटर्न तो पता नहीं क्या होती है, बट एनुअल रिटर्न तो फाइनेंशियल ईयर का होता है। एनुअल रिटर्न टू बी फाइल्ड बाय एवरी registered person paying tax as normal taxpayer with certain exceptions। ठीक है, और फाइनल रिटर्न only those registered persons who have applied for cancellation of registration। लास्ट रिटर्न क्या होता है? फर्म अपना बिजनेस बंद कर रही होती है तब। ओके, has to be filed by one of those who have applied for cancellation of registration। To be filed within 3 months of the date of cancellation or date of cancellation order। later वाला 3 months of date of cancellation और date of cancellation order। cancellation order या फिर cancellation से 3 months के अंदर whichever is later में फाइनल रिटर्न फाइल करनी होती है। क्वेश्चन है, और एनुअल रिटर्न इज फाइल्ड बाय एवरी रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन who is paying tax as a normal person with some exceptions। ABC Limited has applied for cancellation of GST in the month of March. Consultant ABC has suggested to furnish annual final return in the month of September। Furnish. He has advised the company that a final return has to be furnished before the due date of furnishing the return for the month of September of subsequent financial year or before furnishing annual return, whichever is earlier. However, have yet not passed the order for cancellation due to reasons not known to ABC Limited। Okay, तो whichever is later होता है ना, तो अभी तक वो cancellation order issue ही नहीं हुआ है, तो ठीक है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। बट ये जो सितंबर वाला केस है, दिस आई डोंट नो। The return for the month of September or subsequent financial year or before furnishing of annual return, financial year in which cancellation has been sought for, before furnishing of annual return। Not correct है, okay। Okay, not correct ही है।